The second type of cholinergic drugs are indirect acting cholinergic drugs, which is also known as anticholinesterase or cholinesterase inhibitor. Why? Because they are mainly going to act by inhibiting the acetylcholinesterase enzyme. So this is the enzyme which is involved in the breakdown of acetylcholine into acetate and choline. And thereby, these drugs are going to prolong the action of acetylcholine. And this cholinesterase inhibitor may be reversible or irreversible. So let's see the classification of anticholinesterase. Anticholinesterase is classified into reversible and irreversible. Under reversible, carbamates, example physostigmine, neostigmine, peridostigmine, idurfonium, rivastigmine, donepezil, galantamine. Acridine, example is tacrine. Under irreversible, carbamates, example carbaryl, propoxyl, organophosphate, example diffuse, ecotophiate, melaton, diazina, and tabun, sarin, suman. Let's see the general mechanism of action of anticholinesterase. So these are the drugs which are going to inhibit the cholinesterase enzyme, and thereby they are going to cause us increase in the amount of acetylcholine and different tissue, and thereby they are going to increases their response. So in this figure also you can see this is acetylcholinesterase enzyme and this is the acetylcholine, how they are going to result in the breakdown of acetylcholine into the acetate and choline. See, this enzyme that is acetylcholinesterase, it is going to have two sides. First is anionic site, which is having negative charge, and this is going to attract the positive charge nitrogen atom of acetylcholine. And the second site is esteratic site, which is having a hydroxyl group, and it is going to attach or attract the carbonyl group of acetylcholine. So here, very important site is esteratic site. Here only the changes is going to happen. So this esteratic site is acylated and choline is released. The acetyl group is removed by the water and the remaining will be acetic acid and the free enzyme. So now, what anticholinesterase is going to do means, as we know, anticholinesterase is of two types, reversible cholinesterase inhibitor and irreversible cholinesterase inhibitor. So with the name itself, you can say that reversible cholinesterase inhibitor means, so here the inhibition, we can reverse it. It is temporary inhibition. So here, esteratic site is carbamylated, not radially hydrolyzed like that of acetylcholine. So here enzyme is going to remain inhibited for a long time, that is for 4 to 6 hours. Example under this category are physostigmine, neostigmine, idofonium. And here idofonium is going to compete with acetylcholine at the enzyme site and this is truly reversible. Second category is irreversible cholinesterase inhibitor. That means the inhibition going to cause by this drug will be irreversible, permanent. Here also the esteratic site is phosphorylated. That means phosphate group is going to get attached. So here very slowly it is going to get hydrolyzed or in some cases it is not at all going to get hydrolyzed. So this is going to prolong inhibition of enzyme. So this is going to cause the prolonged inhibition of enzyme. Example are ecotophiate, isoflurofate, which is mainly used for experimental condition, malathon and parathon used as insecticide, sarin and suman, which are basically used as ward nerve agent. So first we will study in detail regarding the reversible cholinesterase inhibitor. In that the prototype drug is neostigmine, which is a synthetic quaternary ammonium compound. It doesn't crosses the blood-brain barrier and it is not absorbed orally. So every time or always it should be given by intramuscular route. Mechanism of action is that three are there. Firstly, it is going to inhibit the cholinesterase enzyme and thus increases the accumulation of acetylcholine. Next, it is going to causes the direct stimulation of cholinergic receptor due to the structural similarity to acetylcholine. And next is that it is going to have a direct action on skeletal muscle. So let's see the pharmacological action. It is on heart, it is going to cause bradycardia, vasodilation that will lead to hypertension. On GIT, it is going to increases the GI motility and gastric secretion. On eye, it is going to cause miosis, that is constriction of pupil, and also it is going to decreases the intraocular pressure. Next, it is going to stimulate the all smooth muscles that are located in the respiratory system, urinary system, and uterus. And it is also going to increases all the secretion. So these actions are related to the muscarinic action. Next, we will see the nicotinic action ganglia. Small doses of neostigmine will stimulate the ganglia, whereas the large doses of neostigmine is going to block it. And next is a skeletal muscle. It is going to get stimulated by neostigmine, so which is going to cause us increased acetylcholine. Okay, that will lead to, or it is going to have a direct action on skeletal muscle and also direct action on nicotinic receptor. That means it will further result in twitching and fasciculation. That means there will be an spontaneous involuntary muscle contraction. Next, we will see the adverse effects associated with neostigmine: nausea, increased salivation, increased sweating, flushing, bradycardia, bronchospasm, abdominal pain, diarrhea, increased urination. At high doses, it may cause convulsion and also skeletal muscle weakness. Let's see the therapeutic uses of neostigmine. Neostigmine is basically useful in the treatment of myasthenia gravis. It is a condition or it is a neuromuscular disease in which there will be extreme weakness of skeletal muscle. Next, it is useful as a post-operative paralytic ileus or urinary retention treatment. For here, we are going to make use of 0.5 to 1 mg subcutaneously neostigmine. And also for post-operative decolorization, here we are using neostigmine in the dose range of 0.5 to 2 mg IV, preceded by atropine or glycoparolate 10 microgram per kg to block the muscarinic effect. And lastly, it is used for the treatment of cobra bite also. So in here, how we are using this neostigmine plus atropine, they both are going to prevent the respiratory paralysis. So next, we will see the other drugs present under the reversible cholinesterase inhibitor category. That is physostigmine, which is the natural alkaloid obtained from Physostigma venenosum. It is having affinity to cholinesterase is 10,000 times greater when compared with acetylcholine. It is a tertiary amine derivative. It is observed from GIT and it can penetrate the blood-brain barrier, and thus physostigmine is having central effect. And physostigmine is going to act both on muscarinic and nicotinic receptor. Uses of physostigmine is that it is used as a miotic in the treatment of glaucoma and also in the treatment of belladonna poison. That is the poison associated with overdose of atropine. Okay, so here physostigmine 0.5 to 2 mg IV antidote for the poisoning with belladonna. So this is the dose of physostigmine is used for belladonna poisoning. So remember, physostigmine is an antidote for belladonna poisoning. That is nothing but atropine poisoning. Third drug is that is edrophonium. It is similar to like neostigmine in structure, but differ in rapid onset and short duration of action, and it has weak anticholinesterase activity. It is basically useful in the diagnosis of myasthenia gravis and to differentiate between the myasthenia gravis and cholinergic crisis. So next we will study regarding the irreversible cholinesterase inhibitor. So irreversible cholinesterase inhibitors are the organophosphorus compound. So these are the organic ester of phosphoric acid and they are the potent irreversible inhibitor of cholinesterase. So this drugs is having very limited therapeutic uses because of its high toxicity, and they are basically used as insecticides and are of toxicological importance. So these agents are, you can see, insecticides. So parathon, malathion is basically used as insecticide. Nerve gases, sumensarin is used as a nerve gases. Isoflurofate and icotophiate, they are basically useful in the treatment of glaucoma. So you know what is glaucoma. That is an eye disease in which the optic nerve is going to get damaged and there will be an increase in the pressure of the eye. So lastly, we will see the anticholinesterase poisoning, or you can say organophosphorus poisoning. So this kind of poisoning can be accidental, homicidal, or suicidal. So signs and symptoms is that it is going to show both muscarinic and nicotinic actions like nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, sweating, increased salivary and bronchial secretion, bronchospasm, muscular weakness, and fasciculation. That is fine tremor. Cause of death in this condition will be respiratory failure. Treatment is that first is that we should remove the toxic agent Next, we are going to make use of antidote. Firstly, we are going to make use of atropine in large doses. So this is the dose 2 mg IV repeated every 10 minutes till dryness of mouth or other signs of atropinization appears. That means dryness of mouth like that. Up to 200 mg has been administered in the day. After that, you can go for the cholinesterase reactivator. Oximes are the drug that can reactivate the enzyme. So how oxime is going to reactivate the enzyme is that we will see that mechanism of action. So this oxime is going to attach to the anionic site of the phosphorylated enzyme, and they are going to increases the rate of hydrolysis of the ester bound and the esteratic site. And in this way, they are going to reactivate or regenerate the enzyme. So what dose we have to use means pralidoxime 2 PAM must be used during the first 24 hours before aging or binding. So this complete with the cholinergic drugs. Thank you.